me, remind me of Ice-T. By the way, we share the same birthday. The wordplay is work, but is easy. So catch me, I'm.
Hello and welcome to the Deits and Stevens All Out Sports Show. I'm Robert Dieters.
Hey, I'm Steven. Yep, I'm Steven Hughes, guys. I'm back, but for one last show to finish it off. So, Robert, let's get started.
I know this might be our last show for the year, buddy, and me and him have done a great job.
Yep, we have. It's been great to be on these shows, and we have a VIP special guest in the back. She's not allowed to say anything, but Nicole. Yep, Nicole Rogers. She won an auction, which is a free visit to the show.
Yeah, so we're gonna actually have Sam Rosen on for the NFL. The NFL will have to pay replacement officials, and the NFL refs approve an 8-year deal, as well as the NFL refs. That's what we're gonna be talking about here for our first.
And
discussion.
Here we go. Sam Rosen, a national sports analyst. He does all of the sports around the National Sports Network. Sam, welcome to the show.
It's great to be on again, Steven.
It's great to have you on once again, too, Sam. And first topic we'll be talking about is actually the only topic we'll be talking about. The first part of the show is the NFL, and they have reached a deal with the regular referees, getting a deal that will bring the regular referees back for Week 4. So now we'll like to talk about the replacement officials and how they did these first 3 weeks of the season. Sam, give me your opinion on how they did.
You know, it was seriously the worst possible situation you could have had in any sporting event. No sport relies on referees as much as the NFL does. I don't think they were trained really well enough to handle that duty all by themselves, really. It would have helped if there had been a couple referees to aid them. But it was really like most of them were D3 types of refs, D3 high school. They weren't qualified to be NFL refs. So when you look at how they did in the long run, I say they did as well as they possibly could. Personally, I started to feel bad for them, even though I thought it made the NFL games just almost unbearable to watch at times.
You know, Sam, I have a question. This is Robert here, and about that game with the Seahawks and the Packers, do you think the refs should have been paid for that game because that blown call?
Sorry, what did you say about the refs?
Like, you know that blown call against the Packers and the Seahawks?
Oh, of course.
You know, should the refs be paid for that game because of that one last call? They blew it for the Packers.
That was the last call that they had during their tenure. Then 2 days later, Goodell needed to get the regular referee. So, how did you feel about that?
You know, I was watching that game when it happened, and the striking thing to me was not the call. It was when the two refs were signaling for two exact opposite things. One a touchdown and one not a touchdown. So it's very, very bizarre that happened. And then Goodell finally deciding that this needed to be done. Right after that, that moment was a sure sign that the replacement refs needed to be done refing in the NFL. Truthfully, it was one of the worst and most horrendous calls I think the NFL has ever seen. So I truthfully felt bad for the refs, but I think that was the main influence really in the end of the referee lockout.
Sam, you look at this as a situation where you feel bad for the refs, but they did make bad calls in games where it was really close, against the Patriots and the Ravens, and I know Patriots head coach touched one of the refs, and that was interesting. Can you give me your thoughts on that one?
Oh, I don't think Bill Belichick really meant anything by that. I was pretty mad at the NFL that they fined him for that. I don't think he deserved to be fined. I mean, obviously the guy's going to be mad. They can't do anything. The refs really messed up that game, not because of the call that made him mad, but just because of, like any game, there were a bunch of just bizarre penalties and calls that influenced the game onto the other team's side. But you can't really penalize Bill Belichick for what he did. I don't think he actually meant to touch the ref. I think he just kind of reached his hand out. I don't know. It just didn't seem really on purpose to me. He apologized for what he did, even though he didn't mean to. So, I don't know. That was a mistake, in my opinion, by the NFL.
And Steven, again, Robert pretty much touched the point or the question I was going to ask. And the question was, there are a lot of coaches, not just head coach, but also assistant coaches who got fined by the NFL because of their actions against the replacement referees. Do you think that this was the right choice to fine them? Do you think that it should have been more or there should have been less money? Or do you think there shouldn't have been any real consequences?
Well, it's a very tough question. I don't think there's any definite answer. Some of these coaches have gone above and beyond the lines of the etiquette in the NFL. I've seen coaches who have done some very, very terrible stuff. Now, when you talk about people like Bill Belichick who say just touch the referee, I don't know if that was on purpose or not. Like I said, I don't really think there should be a fine, but some blatantly obvious stuff that has been done against the referees by the coaches has not been good, and I think that should have been penalized, maybe even harsher than the NFL did for some of these coaches. I'd like to also take the time now to talk about how this really affected kind of the game in the NFL. It became kind of a free-for-all. Mentioning what you said with the what I just said with the coaches, I think some of their actions, not really the coaches so much, but the players' actions for their fighting and their bantering that went on, taking advantage of these refs, I think that should have been penalized much harsher than it was.
Sam, what do you think of the new 8-year deal with the refs? Do you think this was a really good call because now they don't have to worry about replacement refs for the next 8 years?
Well, we're going to have the same problem possibly again in 8 years, but for these 8 years, we'll at least know that we have the referees. I'm not very well versed on the specifics of this deal. However, I do believe it's fairly fair for both sides from what I do understand about it. 8 years is a pretty good amount of time to not have any problems, and hopefully when the 8 years are up, we'll be able to come to an agreement very quickly so we don't have to go through the same process once again.
Hey Sam, Steven again. This is a pretty unanimous vote, or almost unanimous, with getting the contract done. It went 112 for the contract, only 5 against. So, do you think that the officials really wanted to get this over because of what they've been seeing and what the criticisms from the average fan to Obama has been on the replacement referees?
Oh, I think the referees were almost embarrassed by how the replacement referees handled the situation. I think it was sad to them that the NFL was turning into what it had become for the last few weeks. It was atrocious, and I think the real referees realized that it was their duty to the NFL, it was their duty truly to America, because football is really, it's about America, and they were starting to take the blame for what was going on, not the people on the field, which I think was deserved because the refs not agreeing to a deal was the stimulus for the replacement refs to have to come in and ref the NFL game. So I think it was a pretty obvious decision for them, and obviously just loved by America that they're back.
I know Ray Lewis gave a hug to the refs as they came in for their game Thursday night, and they made some great calls. It was a great time for all the refs. Do you think they should have gotten a lot of love for them coming back?
Oh, no question. It was their fault that they got the NFL into this mess with theirs and obviously the league, but you know, they need to get love coming back. It was such a monumentous occasion. The best quote I read on this, I do not remember who it was by, stated that the refs blended into the game, and that's the key. You're not supposed to know more about the refs than you are about the players. So it was just a really enlightening experience to watch how much better the real refs were than the replacement refs.
All right, thanks, Sam, for coming on the show, and I know you have a show tomorrow, I believe.
Yes, I do.
Sam's Situation, guys. He is the host of that show. Does a really great job on what he does. And Sam, any last thoughts before you go?
Thank you so much for having me on your show. Like I said, I have a show tomorrow night, sometime around 7. Probably might be at 7 sharp, might be a little later. I'm going to be analyzing the sports world. I don't know what I'm doing yet. I start to figure that out right before the show. Thank you so much again for having me on the show. I just love coming on and doing stuff with you guys. It's great.
Thank you, Sam, once again. And we'll talk. We'll give you some contact a little bit later.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Sam. And again, Sam. And again, guys, Sam Rosen from Sam's Situation. He does a great show. Tune into that. He gives you all the analysis, like Adam Schefter, and tune into his shows whenever it's on our website.
Yes, our website is really important. You guys need to go on it. Check out some latest shows. I know the old shows are probably old news. You want to get on to the new news, look at the latest ones. Look at my commentary for Robert Dieters. I do Mercy High School. And you'll see them all Mercy games on there. So check that out. When we come back, we'll be looking at some NBA.
And we're going to be talking about some NBA. 2 things from the NBA. First off, Jay-Z, the owner of the Brooklyn Nets, or partial owner, during his concert at the new Barclays Center in Brooklyn, also was repping the new Brooklyn jerseys. We'll give you a little bit more on that. And then Ray Allen, going back to a KG complaint. KG pretty much verbally routed Ray Allen from going to Miami. We'll be talking about that and more in just a little bit after this commercial break for the Deits and Stevens All Sports Show here on the National Sports Network in affiliation with Spreaker.com.
Hello and welcome back to the Deits and Stevens All Sports Show. As we go to our topic show at NBA, we're going to wrap you up on what we talked about so far. We talked about the NL refs with our analyst Sam Rosen, as he is the host of Sam's Situation. Listen to his show tomorrow on Sunday, also as well as some other shows we have on top. So, and we actually have a hi here from B97FMN / DJ Earthman. Thanks, DJ Earthman. I listen to your radio show. Thanks so much for dropping in and saying hi. And guys, I know we have a texted number. Steven, you want to give them the texted number?
The texting number, if you guys want to call in and talk to us about really anything sports, the number is 650-315-6543. It's on the chat box, so if someone like DJ Earthman wants to call in or text in a question, you can do that with the phone number in the chat box. Also, guys, we'll be talking to you guys more near the end of the show about how you can reach us on social media. So
yes, and we also give shout-outs as well, guys, so give us a holler on that. So let's go to Miami's Heat, Ray Allen. So, Steven, what do you think of this situation? Ray Allen still considers Kevin Garnett a friend.